Hello friends, I'm Jonathan Pishner with Apex Counseling, and today we're going to continue on with our discussion of how to have the best mental health possible during the pandemic, quarantine, COVID-19 situation. So one of the things that I've been working with a lot of my clients on recently is the ability to have some level of optimism. And because there's so much bad information out there about this, I always feel the need to clarify what I mean by optimism. I don't mean like happy, frilly, like, oh my God, life is always perfect and amazing. Like that's kind of like the delusional type of optimism. I'm talking about actual rational optimism where you can believe that, like, yeah, maybe things are going to turn out okay. That's the kind of optimism anytime we're discussing this that I'm really talking about. So a lot of people are having trouble with that right now, being able to have the worldview that maybe things are going to turn out okay for them or for their family or for the world in general. So I want to talk about that for a few minutes and give you some action items that are hopefully helpful to you. So number one, let's just start with the math. Right now, circumstances are objectively worse than they were a year ago. Almost no matter where you're looking, whether you're looking at quarantine pandemic, whether you're looking at politics stuff, whether you're looking at, there's just all kinds of stuff happening right now. And so basically the math is it's harder for you to have some level of optimism than it was a year ago, just because now there's either more negative stuff going on or we're more aware of it. Both of those things are happening. And so you're starting from a base level of more difficulty having optimism and believing things can be okay. So that's important to know because it goes into our stuff here in a minute. The thing a lot of people are accidentally doing is damaging their ability to be optimistic through their behaviors. I've brought this up in a couple videos, so I'm not going to belabor the point too much, but most people are selecting the wrong content to consume in order to have some level of optimism. They're watching too much news, too much negative social media, too much, all the stuff I've put out videos about before. So one of the first things I'm telling people to do is check and see what are you doing that is damaging your ability to be optimistic. Not what is the world doing, what are you personally doing to damage your ability to be optimistic. Anytime I bring this up, almost everyone is saying, well, yeah, okay, here's my bad social media habit, here's my bad YouTube habit, here's my bad news habits. We are all doing something. Even I'm not innocent of it. I'm just maybe like a few steps ahead of most people, as far as damaging my optimism. But everybody's doing it. So check for yourself. What are you currently doing? What behaviors are you engaging in that are damaging your ability to be optimistic? And the more important one, because this is harder, what are the things you can engage in that will help bring that up? I know I've brought up the Fred Rogers line a couple of times. Like his thing was in the crisis situation, look for the helpers, because there are always people helping. There's always such a beautiful line. I've always loved it. But what he's really saying there, in the context of what we're talking about today, is here is a way that you can increase your ability to be optimistic. And I think it's a great one because what he's suggesting is you focus on a particular thing in order to be able to have some level of optimism. I think that's absolutely correct. And he probably picked one of the best ones to focus on, but that's not the only one. Even if it's just like looking at the stuff online or in your own life, hanging around with the people who actually have some level of positivity. Everybody has at least one friend who is more positive than all the others. One of my very first questions to you would be, how much time are you spending with that person? How much time are you kind of like opening yourself to receiving what that person is saying? That's one way to increase your ability to have some level of optimism. Who you hang out with, what social media and electronic media you consume, even just what you do, your own behaviors. Like there's a lot of people who stopped exercising right about March when all this quarantine stuff hit, kind of thinking that this was not going to go so long, but they haven't picked it back up. So they are their health is slightly worsening over the course of time. And so that has to damage a person's ability to be optimistic. So behavioral selection becomes important. What can you do to increase your ability to think that your health will be okay, your finances will be okay, your job situation will be okay? And here's the thing, you'll notice I'm not giving too many specific suggestions, and that's because there aren't a lot of suggestions that generalize to a lot of people. This is a very specific, very individualized thing. As I work with people on this, I've not spotted any patterns that I can share with you and be like, oh man, yeah, it seems like 80% of people, if they do this, suddenly that ability to think things will be okay goes way up. This seems to be way more individualized than a lot of stuff. So I'm going to leave you with the two bullet points, and hopefully you'll be able to take that, utilize it, work on it. What are you doing to damage your ability to be optimistic? And it's almost all going to be you're taking in the wrong information. You already know bad stuff that's happening. You don't need to watch 17 news reports on it. And what can you do to increase your ability to think things are going to be okay, things have a possibility of working out, to view it as probable that things will actually shake out in a somewhat okay manner. So that's your two working points for today. There's a part of me that feels like deeply sorry I can't give you something more specific like I usually try to, but since I noticed that was happening, I wanted to go ahead and put this video out so that maybe people can start taking that, chewing over it, utilizing it in some way. But thank you very much for hanging out with me for a few minutes today. I'm Jonathan Pishner with Apex Counseling, and I will see you next time.